Welcome to Sojo.
Okay.
We're here. Happy. That was loud and awkward.
Welcome.
Hopefully y'all can hear us, because sometimes that happens. Let us know if you can't.
For weeks.
For weeks.
Like 2 or 3 weeks.
Probably our mics are not coming through, so if you want
2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, Jesus. That was very loud for me. Not for you all, but hi, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all of the beautiful people out there fathering. You two just shh. I'm welcoming the people. Shh. They can't hear us. It's fine, they say. I can. I'm trying to say hi. Anyway, happy Father's Day. Thank you to all of the people out there doing beautiful, tide turning, table flipping, change the culture fathering. Y'all are beautiful, and you mean the world to me, and you are making the world a better place. And we love you, and we love the work that you do to show up and tenderly caregive. So happy Father's Day and happy Juneteenth. I see some of you putting that in the comments. Thank you. And if you don't know what Juneteenth is, please go look that up, study it. It's important history to know about and to remember and to honor today. So happy Father's Day, happy Juneteenth, happy Pride. And we are continuing to celebrate Pride today at Sojo. We're excited about that. Love you. Bumper. He says bumper. Next scene.
Yeah, that'll do it. Hello. Speaking of Father's Day, last night, Kate and I were up in the mountains, up in Julian, at a beautiful welling.
Uh-oh.
It's gonna be a morning, friends.
It's going to be like a beautiful wedding celebration of a longtime sojourner, Greg Phillips. Greg married his new beau, his new partner, Michael, last night.
It's a little extra getting married during Pride Month, you guys.
I mean, come on. Greg, extra?
Extra.
Right on the mark for him. So congrats to Greg and Michael once again.
Oh, they're saying your mic is not.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I didn't go to lyrics. All of that. You gotta go to the lyrics scene. Sorry, that should have been after. Hey, good morning. Welcome, everybody.
Good morning. Do you hear us now?
Yeah, they hear us now.
Should we redo the banter where I called Greg extra?
What I was saying was, speaking of Father's Day, last night, Kate and I, along with some other folk, were up in the mountains in Julian, celebrating the beautiful wedding of longtime sojourner Greg Phillips to his new husband, now Michael. And so congratulations to Greg and Michael on your wonderful nuptials. And I say Father's Day because it was really cool. They had their...
That was going to be my question. Why not speaking of Pride?
Well, because they had a... they've been fostering a 17-year-old foster child.
That's right.
Yeah, and they were there, like, walked down the aisle with them and did a toast and everything. And so it was just really, really precious in that way.
Moments.
So that's... But anyway, so congrats, Greg and Michael. Yeah. Kate said it was one of the most beautiful toasts to fathers that she's ever heard in her life. So, yes, for Pride, for celebration, for Father's Day, for all that. Greg, we love you.
Speaking of Juneteenth, Greg got married.
Sometimes in our life, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Hey, please swallow your pride. Wait, that's a weird lyric to have in a song during Pride Month.
That is weird.
Don't swallow your pride this month.
Please.
It's a different kind. In the context of this song,
Yeah.
it's fine.
It's
Did
actually.
I mention we were out late last night at a wedding?
Embrace your vulnerability.
There it is, all right. Please embrace vulnerability
If you have things
you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you don't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Said if there is a load you have to bear that you can carry, I'm right up that road. I'll share your load if you just call me. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. Just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean. One more time. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on, lean on, lean on, somebody lean on, somebody lean on me, somebody lean on. Won't you lean on me? Won't you lean on me? And I will lean on you. Suggested lyric change.
Ooh, it does.
Please take off your mask if I have things you need to.
It just puts me in pandemic mindset too, though.
Oh no!
Everything is ruined.
All the words have been. Hey, would you
Fun
welcome?
times. Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to welcome all of you fine folk here this morning. Welcome to Sojourn Grace Collective. I'm so glad you're here. When you show up in this space, you're showing up for spiritual, social, and emotional wholeness. Whoever or whatever God is to you, you're showing up to reflect on and notice God in yourself and in others. You're showing up to affirm the inherent goodness of others and yourself. You're showing up for justice for others and for yourself. We are here to create a space of radical inclusion, a space where your full humanity is affirmed and embraced and celebrated. No matter who you are, where you are in your journey, you're invited to participate fully in the work and the play, which we do well, of this collective of people. Radical inclusion means that we affirm your identity in every way that matters to you. So it means that we love your gender expression and we affirm your sexual orientation. We love the colors of your skin and we celebrate your cultural background. We love the way you talk or communicate and we celebrate your age, from brand new to been here a while. We love your religious affiliation or your lack thereof. And we honor the socioeconomic space that you occupy in this world. We love your mind, we honor your body, and we celebrate the abilities that you bring to the room today. or the internet today. I wrote this before Birch Church. Thank you for making the effort to be here with us. I hope that you'll participate in the songs, that you'll feel comfortable to sing along, to move your body, to stand. No one's going to see you. You're in your house. It's okay. And to use the space that you have in whatever way helps you connect to your own intuition, to our shared spirit, and to the sacred voice that speaks to you.
Thank you. We're together in this. Sure, we got our own politics. Sure, we got our own religions. We're still together in this. We're together in this. Sure, we got our own set of problems. Yeah, we got our own things we wanna change. We're still together in this. 'Cause I'll carry your weight, brother. You'll carry mine. We'll leave the battle far behind. Let love and peace become all that we need. Oh, 'cause we're still together in this. We're together in this. So put away your blood and your violence. Rest in solitude and silence. Yeah. 'Cause we're still together in this. I'll carry your weight, sister. 'Cause I'll carry your weight, sister. You'll carry mine. We'll leave the battle far behind. Let love and peace become. Let love and peace become all that we need. Oh, I'll carry yours, you'll carry mine. We'll leave the battle far behind. I'll carry yours, you'll carry carry your weight, sibling. You'll carry mine. We'll leave the battle far behind. Oh. Let love and peace become all that we need. 'Cause we're still together in there.
Bye.
Does his face appropriately match my energy today?
Maybe. What did Dad say? Oh, he just said thank you. Okay, cool. Hi. Welcome to Collective Conversations. This is the part of the service where we talk amongst ourselves with using some prompts from Esther Pavel.
Why am I opening the book? I'm going to read us the instructions today, apparently.
Yeah, we definitely need that.
We need instructions. We do need instructions.
Basic instructions?
Shiny.
Basic instructions before leaving us.
Is anybody an expert on mattifying your bald head on camera? I'd be interested to know.
Can you use a mattifying moisturizer?
That exists?
Oh, yeah. I use it all the time. I love
okay.
it. So does he, apparently. Yeah.
I'll hook you up.
Okay, thank you.
We prefer our
I got an
faces to look
affiliate code
matte.
for that.
Yeah, I want a matte face.
I don't
Look
like
how-
glossy face.
I'm very glossy right now.
The
But I
dewy
put-
look is very in, and I am not about it.
No, it
I
is.
like matte,
It is in.
but I still look dewy.
I literally put oil on my head this morning, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
surprised that it's super shiny, but
We can make that matte.
okay, cool.
We can make that matte.
Don't call me Matt, my name's Matthew.
Exactly. Okay, what do we got? I don't know. Do whatever.
This is weird, but okay. Between hosting and being hosted, okay, in gay culture, it's Pride Month, so I get a second. In
Yeah,
gay,
yeah, you
in
do.
gay culture, this means like when you host or when you are the hoster, it means like you're the person on Grindr who's like, oh, I'll host. Like you can come to my house and we'll get it on.
Oh, I
So,
like that.
But that's not what we're going to talk about. I mean, you can talk
I was
about
gonna
that
say, if you want to, go
between
for it.
between hosting or being hosted, I prefer. Which do you prefer?
Dot.
I hate hosting. I'm the worst host.
Really?
I definitely prefer to be hosted.
You already know how I feel about this.
You love hosting.
It's my jam.
Yeah.
I like my house to be the house that everybody comes to.
Yeah, no, I'm terrible at
Everybody's
it.
second
Like
home.
I'm in a book club and there's 6 of us and we just trade off. So twice a year I have to host book club. And it's my dreaded
You're like, "Ah,
nightmare.
crap,
It's my
my turn."
dreaded nightmare every time.
My turn. Crap.
How do I feed these people? And I've screwed it up like almost every time we've done it. Like I ordered way too much barbecue one time. Like I didn't know how much a pound of like barbecue was, and I ordered,
That's fair.
and they got there. And it's 5 girls and me. So these 5 girls were like, "We're not going to eat that much pulled pork, Matthew, but thank you."
I love it.
And then other times I don't have enough
Oh,
food. It's a
people
mess.
love hosting.
They
The
do?
Houstons love to host. Any excuse to cook for people, love that. Yeah. Oh my goodness. People really prefer hosting. This is all.
Is there anybody who
oh,
hates
Donna, Donna being hosted. I get stressed at hosting.
Thank
there you
you,
go.
Donna.
You've got
it? Kindred.
team. You've got a team, 1-person team.
I like being hosted if it's like the right host.
I don't know if you can hear Colby off
says he
camera.
likes being hosted if it's the right host. So now the next question clearly is, what are the criteria for,
Well, yeah, what's
for
the
correct
criteria?
host?
That's not the question.
He's not answering that question. Oh wait, that's the next card. What are Colby's criteria
Oh my gosh.
for the correct host?
Being hosted. Good people, good food, no washing up. Oh my
No
gosh, that's
washing up.
hilarious, Joshua.
It's so true.
Yes.
Although that's the thing, like I can go to somebody's house and like I love doing dishes. It's my favorite thing. And so that like I like being helpful. Like,
Oh,
oh, you're hosting me?
I
I
love
will do your
this.
dishes.
Oh, I love
I will
that.
dust your furniture.
That's
I will
great.
vacuum your rug.
Ooh, next time you come over, you're so dusting my furniture. I like that. So I can leave when I want and not feel bad about kicking people out. I love that.
Mark, thank you, Mark, for bringing in the Pride Month.
In a gay way and otherwise.
Mark is a great host. Absolutely.
Are you saying that because you lived with Mark
Yeah.
for a bit?
I lived with in Mark's back room for a while.
Man, y'all really do. You love hosting. This is great. If there's any chance of having allergy, food intolerant, menu friendly. Oh, that's a bummer. But I feel you. I think a lot of people struggle with that. Oh, Abby likes being hosted.
Yay, Abby!
I am with Katie. I was going to say this actually. Even though I am obsessed with hosting, as you know, I also, I love being hosted too. Both and. Got another team member there.
Oh, I kind of get this, Patty's. Like, I hate cooking, but like to have people in my home. Like, I do love, like, we have a little game night here sometimes. I love that. And I'll go grab whatever snacks we randomly have
So it's
in the
really
cupboard.
food related that you have stress
Yeah,
over.
I guess it is. I do not like providing food for people.
There you go.
BYOF, and you can come over.
If only if there's a dog or 7 that I can hang out with, or any sort of pets.
We have that. Just one.
And Crystal's like, nah, neither. I was like, both and. Crystal's like,
Meet up for-
neither. Meet up for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
I like
Actually,
it.
that's probably
You
ultimately
want to pull
me.
another card for us?
Okay, sure.
Sounds good.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Although that'd be really funny for a lot of people to answer. Oh, this is interesting. Something about my culture that I wish other people understood.
I like this.
What is your culture? First of all, that's
Yeah,
the thing.
people have to identify,
You have to
right?
identify
Like,
what is my
dig
culture?
in. What's
What do
your
I mean by
culture?
that?
Yeah, what do you mean by that? Do you have a share for that?
No, I'm thinking, thinking about it. I liked the question, and then I'm like, which culture do I want to represent in this story? I mean, obviously, queer culture is a culture.
For sure. So is drag culture. You could share
Drag
something you wish
culture
people
is a
understood
thing.
about that.
I mean, I guess
It's a hard one
after
for me.
after this week, so I just came off of a week of vacation with the family in North Carolina. All like aunties, cousins, like there were 27 children in a house. It was a lot. I was in a different house, thankfully.
This makes me laugh really hard for some reason.
Y'all, hey y'all. When is it singular? When does somebody use it singularly?
Is this part of me being British, babe?
guess so.
Anyway, I was asked, I've heard of queer people being asked this question before, like, and there's like jokes about it online, but I don't think I've ever personally been asked this question, but I was asked by an auntie who came over and like got real close and got real like quiet and was like, I have a question. I hope it's okay if I ask. I have a question.
I
I
like when
hope it's
people
okay.
say, I hope it's okay if I ask.
I hope it's okay
Not
if I
can
ask.
I ask,
Mhm.
but I hope it's okay.
And she said, to me and my husband, to Chris, which one of you is the husband and which one's the wife?
Not still.
What did you go for? Did you laugh?
Here's the thing. Oh, I cracked up.
You
I
did.
doubled over.
I love it.
Because
That's a good response. I
because,
like that.
yeah, because it's from an auntie. It was absolutely like not malicious in any way. Like she's not. I genuinely think this auntie is not homophobic. She's truly just
She was
ignorant.
like trying.
She was
probably,
actually
right?
trying. I think she was
love
actually
that.
trying, and it was so cute and sweet. And so yeah, I told her. After I recovered from my laughing fit. I was like, well, auntie, we don't really ask that question. It's kind of an archaic way of thinking because you're trying to put us in the traditional marriage box, and we're not a traditional marriage, baby.
How'd she respond to that?
She got it. I think she got it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. She.
Further proving your point that
I
she
genuinely
wasn't being
think she had
malicious, yeah.
never, like, she had just never considered it. Like, she only knows marriage as, like, a husband and a wife. So
Do you have knives on you?
they're little stabby knives. Aren't they cute?
Oh my gosh, those are awesome. Top chef.
These are
the
so
Mexican one.
cute.
They're pink.
I wish y'all could see these, like really see them. They're
Can I
very,
get
very
up close and show them? Is it gonna
Cold,
focus?
cold will focus. Yeah.
Oh, it likes Kate's eyes.
Oh, oh, I'll move my eyes.
Gotcha.
Look at how cute it is. It's a little stabby knife.
It's awesome.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh, not again. Gosh dang it, babe.
What happened?
We have the same stupid.
Ew.
That happened last week.
Even
too.
you? Even you. I'm sorry. to
Sorry,
everybody.
everyone. I know we had to do this last week where we were like, sorry, don't get. Oh, YouTube is easier to like not be bombarded by the comments, at least. Sorry, everyone, for those awful comments that are currently on your screen. If you're, oh, good God, Colb was able to get rid of it last time. Hopefully, he can again.
Wow. Wow, Zarino.
Oh, Abby, are you asking any moderators for YouTube over there? I'm so sorry. We're working on it. Sorry about that.
Which one's the fork and which one is the spoon?
All right, going back to actual. For the culture of progressive Christianity, oh, that was a good pick, Colby. I like that. So for the culture of progressive Christianity, I wish other people understood that we already know all your evangelical answers. We just don't agree or believe that anymore.
Yeah, like stop trying to convince
Stop
me
trying
with
to
the
teach us.
things that I specifically left. like
Yep.
that I used to use as my own arguments. Please.
In my Midwest culture, we all check in before we go to town to see if anyone needs anything from whatever store we're headed to.
I love that
is
so
great.
much.
That's awesome.
That's like we do that in our house, because we have housemates, but
Yeah, and Abby's tagging on to Colby saying, I wish my former evangelical culture could understand.
yeah, and not misrepresent it or make assumptions about it or just instantly think that like we have an agenda other than our own personal freedom and liberation.
Oh, Nate's is really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to share that one. I didn't grow up Mormon, but I live in Mormon culture in Utah. I wish people understood how many deconstructed ex-Mormons live here and the trauma so many adults have gone through to lease the faith. Oops, I have
went
to now
away.
move to over here because it went away. They once held. Religious deconstruction culture is huge in Utah.
Wow.
I didn't know that. And there's so
So
much
much
tenderness under
tenderness.
the surface for so many people you meet around here.
I love that.
Thanks for sharing, Nate.
That just
Exmo.
makes me want to sob.
Hashtag Exmo is like huge online too. And I've
Really?
encountered a lot of it
Oh, that's
just because
beautiful.
I talk about it on TikTok and stuff. And people often ask me actually if I'm ex-Mormon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's a lot out and I don't know. I need to learn more about it.
Biculture, that's a huge one. I could share from that one too, Lilia. And I will in a second. Biculture. I'm not attracted to absolutely everyone all the time, and I don't miss the other if I'm with the one. I just make awkward finger guns and sit like a pretzel. Oh my God, I love you so much.
Biculture is sitting like a pretzel and going, hey. I love it. Kate's having like a full-on like.
It's just so
oh
happy
my
right now.
gosh.
I'm gonna go back later and screenshot that comment and just like keep it on my phone to have always. I love you, Lilia. I don't know that I need to add more than that. I said I was gonna share from my perspective after I read that, but then I read it and now I feel pretty good. I will say that recently we were somewhere where somebody asked if, I'm gonna say this carefully because I do not mean it in a negative way towards the place where we're at, but somebody asked in queer culture, raise your hand if you're bi. And I did not raise my hand. And Colby later asked why I did not. And I said, do you remember what happened next? And Colby goes, oh yeah. Then they immediately made fun of all bi people and like made a really negative comment. And I said, that's why I don't raise my hand and say, because I know what's coming next. I know. And so I refuse to take part in it. And so I guess that's my share. I don't know that it's a specific what I wish people knew. I just wish people would stop taking that one identity and making it the butt of all the jokes. And jokes are fine. We all joke about stuff.
Yeah.
But for whatever reasons, that each identity has gone through a lot, but that one has some real negativity attached to it and becomes in queer culture the one to make fun of and demean. It's not make fun of because again, laughter is fun and goofy is fun. It's the demeaning part of it.
And disrespecting.
And dismissing. Y'all don't count is the constant refrain. So anyway, that's my share. Cole, were you able to get rid of all that?
Yeah, you see him on our screen.
Okay.
That's the moderation.
All right. So Cole was able to moderate that YouTubers and get that off of there. And thanks and sorry. Haley has a share about gay culture. I wish people understood that we're not here to change people or force who we are on others. We're just to embrace and be ourselves. We deserve to be and feel included in society.
That's the
Great
whole
share, Haley.
the whole like diversion right now with grooming and how queer people and drag queens specifically are under attack for grooming kids. It just makes me like double over in laughter and tears, like because I'm like, I was groomed my whole life.
Oh my gosh.
I was groomed by the church, by the culture around me to be a very specific way.
Yep.
Like the only thing queer people are doing for kids is trying to create a space where they can be themselves. We're not trying to turn anybody gay who's not, or make people explore sexuality when they don't want to. But your kid is going to, I'm getting on a whole little
please.
soapbox here.
That's what collective conversation
Your
is for.
kid is
I love it.
going to encounter their identity in all kinds of ways. And if they don't have a place to do that safely, then it's going to get turned inward, bottled up. It can so frequently turn into, it's like the Obscurus in the new Harry Potter movie, in the Fantastic Beasts movies, where like it's a magic thing, but if it turns in on itself, it can just eat you up and destroy you. And that is why suicide rates are so much higher. And it's why
the work queer people do to create spaces for kids is very important. And we're not stopping. Okay?
Okay.
Won't stop.
Okay. I love this share so much, Alexa. I could talk about this forever. So maybe it's my soapbox time, but I'm just gonna read your comment. I wish people understood that there are a multitude of attractions, not just sexual and romantic. It would help people understand identities more.
Yeah.
I love that. We love our boxes in humanity, don't we? The harm of, oh, yes. Please, Abby.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Wish people understood that too.
Absolutely.
All right, my loves. This has been another beautiful collective conversation with all the things.
All over the place.
All over the
All over
map.
the map.
Sorry, I'm having to. Okay, that's great. I'm having to reblock the spammer on YouTube. That is Soups Interpropes. So sorry, YouTubers. We're moderating and monitoring as best as we can, and then Matthew's got to get a battery for their guitar. So while I've got you, thank you for all of you who participated in that collective conversation. It truly has been one of the gifts that our community has discovered in these last 2.5 years of being primarily and solely virtual, is the ability to get to know you a bit more and have you participate in the conversation and be a part of these discussions with us. What a gift. And it's been fun to watch some of you, as the weeks have gone on, to open up a bit more and be more vulnerable. And then there are those of you that have been leading with vulnerability for a long time, and you give others the permission and the invitation to likewise be vulnerable in a community space with people that that many of us don't even know each other IRL, right? We know the names and the little profile pics, and yet it's been this beautiful community that we built here. No? All right, well, Laura says that they can barely hear me. I will, yeah. I think I'm nice and loud in here, so maybe when I sing, I get louder. And when I talk, I get quieter. But thanks for the feedback. I'll try and talk louder without yelling. All right, bud. You got it?
Here we go. Ready? Yes. Cool. Thanks. I wish my heart were a hammer. I'd put you back together, but it's just a heart like yours. If my hands were a paddle, I'd pull you through this trouble, but they're just hands like yours. Here's what these hands can do: be there to hold you, and when you lose your way. And here's what my heart would say: love comes back, and love comes back, and love comes back around. When words are a rainstorm, the lightning crash and the thunder roar, they're just words storm is through, new words will find you. Here's what those words will say: you're gonna be okay, 'cause love comes back, and love comes back, and love comes back around. Oh, love comes back, and love comes back, and love comes back around. I wish your eyes were a window. I could see the me that you know, but they're just eyes like mine. Love comes back, and love comes back, and love, it comes back around. Love comes back, and 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 love, it comes back around.
Let's take a moment, and if you would like to participate, I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in with me and out. And there's a practice that we've done here before at Sojourn, and it's the practice of Tonglen, which is a prayer practice where you breathe in the hardship, you breathe in the pain, you bring in the suffering, you breathe in the darkness of others. And then you breathe out lightness and hope and peace and wellness. And so I'm going to just invite you for just a moment, if there's someone that comes to mind for you this morning, for whom they are struggling, going through a hard time, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it is. Is there someone that comes to mind for you that feels heavily burdened, that feels forgotten, that feels lonely, that feels lost? Is there someone for whom this morning you can take a few deep breaths in and breathe in their loneliness, breathe in their pain, breathe in their suffering, and then as you breathe out, and you picture and imagine sending them what you believe they could use this morning? Is it strength? Is it hope? Is it peace? And so with that person or people, maybe it's a group of people this morning, let's take a few deep breaths in and out as we practice this prayer for them. This song is called "The Kingdom Is Yours," and it puts to word the mission that I believe Jesus tried to be about, which is for the littlest, the lost, the least, those on the underside of power, those forgotten, those left behind, those oppressed, those who are on the outsides. That is who the kingdom is for.
Blessed are the ones who do not bury all the broken pieces of their heart. Blessed are the tears of all the weary, pouring like a sky of falling stars. Blessed are the ones who in mourning, brave enough to show the Lord their scars. Blessed are the hurts that are not hidden, open to the healing touch of God. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope comes from our God. Keep your eyes on them. Blessed are the ones who walk in kindness, even in the face of great abuse. Blessed are the deeds that go unnoticed, serving with unguarded gratitude. Blessed are the ones who fight for justice, longing for the coming day of peace. Blessed is the soul that thirsts for righteousness, welcoming the last, the lost, the least. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope comes from our God. Keep your eyes on there. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope comes from our God. Keep your eyes on there. Blessed are the ones who suffer violence and still have strength to love their enemies. Blessed is the faith of those who persevere. Though they fall, they'll never know defeat. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope comes from our God. Keep your eyes on there. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope comes from our God. Keep your eyes on them. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope comes from our God. Keep your eyes on them.
Kate said that song got me in my feels, which it did to me when I heard it for the first time a few weeks ago. Yeah, so good. So that song is called "The Kingdom Is Yours," and the group is Common Hymnal, I believe. Common Hymnal. Yeah, really good stuff. All right. No, it's good. It's good. I miss doing music. It's good. It's good for me to do it.
Music misses
Time.
you.
Music misses me, Matthew says. Thank you. So today at Sojourn, we continue our Pride guest speaker series. And last week, if you missed it, we had the wonderful Ashton Colby on, who talked about the gifts of being transgender with us. So go back and see the YouTube video or the video on Facebook. And I think I updated our podcast this week. Maybe the podcast is updated with that. Anyway, today, very excited because today we're going to be joined by someone who I've known for, gosh, how long has it been, Brandon? Like 8 years? I want to say like 7 or 8 years ago, Brandon and I met and have stayed connected over the years. And we lived together in the same city because he lived in San Diego for like 4 years. He's not here anymore. Now, I think he's out in Washington, D.C. I'll let him correct me if I got that wrong. But Brandon is among many things, Brandon is a prolific author. So if you just go to Amazon and type in Brandan Robertson, there goes your month's allotment of book money in your budget. Prolific author. He's been a pastor, like I mentioned, here in San Diego. He's been a lifelong activist, working for all sorts of beautiful, wonderful causes and doing incredible things in spaces where we need people like Brandon to be. And then recently, he has been a part of the world of, is it TikTok? Is that how one pronounces it, Matthew? TikTok? He has sort of blown up there as a voice of a version of progressive Christianity, which a lot of people, Brandon, are not real thrilled about, right? A lot of the more conservative folk are not thrilled about how we're out here trying to suggest maybe this progressive version of Christianity might be the only way this thing makes sense anymore. So anyway, I love him. I love all the things that he has done for our world, and I'm going to bring him on now. Let's see if he comes on. Hey, there he is. Good morning, Brandon. How are you?
So good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. A little tired from our wedding celebration last night, but I'm thrilled to be here. And thank you for accepting our invitation to join us this morning from, was I correct? Are you still in D.C.?
I'm still in D.C., and it is such an honor to be back at Sojourn Grace. It's been a few years, so it's good to reconnect with the community.
I love it, buddy. All right, I'm going to put you on the full screen now and let you take it away. So, Brandon, thanks for being here with us.
Thank you. Well, again, hello, Sojourn Grace Collective. It is good to virtually be here with you all. And I'm really bad at directions. I'll say that right up front. And so the gifts of being gay was kind of the overall message pitch that Colby threw out. And the way I'm going to talk about it this morning, as I was writing this, what emerged was 4 different ways that I've experienced coming out as gay, as providing me and providing LGBT people that I know opportunities and gifts to bless and help others. So that's where we're going to kind of go this morning. And to begin, I want to read just a little portion of a scripture from the Hebrew Bible book of Isaiah. This is what it says in Isaiah chapter 43. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Coming out is perhaps one of the most terrifying and transformative events that happen in the life of a queer person. It begins usually with fear of potential loss. It begins with removing a mask, a cloak that we've grown comfortable wearing. It begins with a death of one way of living in the world. It begins with bravery, to willingly face these potential consequences, to take a costly leap into the unknown. And for many of us, there is pain and rejection. But then we begin to experience transformation. Then we begin to taste freedom. Then we begin to realize what it looks like to show up in the world as fully ourselves. We realize what it feels like to live and to love authentically. This process of coming out for most of us usually doesn't happen overnight. It can take years and years to go through the coming out process. But when we do cross that threshold and embrace our God-crafted identities, we experience a rebirth, spiritually and in our day-to-day lives. The process of coming out is, on one hand, entirely unique to the LGBT community. But on the other hand, I want to suggest this morning that coming out is a crucial process for every human being to undergo. If you go through the coming out process, you realize, especially as queer people, we realize that it has a lot more to do than with just our sexuality or gender identity. Coming out, in fact, invites us to re-examine what it means to show up as our full selves authentically in the world in every area of our lives. The coming out process, it's an invitation to discover the many ways our identities have been forced to conform, to suppress in order to fit to societies or to our churches or our families' idea of who we are supposed to be. And even straight folks and cisgender folks are forced to repress and conform their true selves. They, too, adopt masks. They create false images of who they're supposed to be in order to fit into the world. This is nothing new. It's not new to our era. This has been going on since the dawn of human consciousness. This is why, all throughout the Bible, we hear calls to die to ourselves. There's not a call to die to literally who we are, who God has made us to be, but rather die to our false self and rise to the new life, our God-created life, which is meant to be our unhindered, uninhibited, naked self. The self that God created and sees beneath all of our masks. This is the self that all of us are called to get back to in order to live a spiritually fulfilled and abundant life. Father Richard Rohr says, your false self is a social and mental construct to get you started on the journey of life. It's a set of agreements between you and your parents, your family, your school, your friends, your partners, your spouse, your culture, and your religion. It's your container. He continues, when you're able to move your false self at the right time and in the right way, it will feel as if you have lost nothing. Of course, if all you know is your false self and you do not know there is anything beyond it, the transition will probably feel like dying. When you're connected to the whole, you no longer need to protect or defend the part. You are now connected to something inexhaustible. We need the false self, the masks that many of us put on and wear, in order to survive in the world initially. But the call of the gospel is to shed that self so that we can mature, we can evolve and progress in our faith and in our lives. Coming out for all of the pain that it brings helps queer folks go through this process in a profound way. It calls us to an incredible bravery and boldness. It gives us wisdom that I believe we can tap into and become healers to others. For me, coming out was truly a dying to one way of being in the world. My evangelical fundamentalist Christian identity was all that I was. That's how I viewed myself. That's how I projected myself into the world. And all the bells and whistles that came with that identity, the promises that came with that identity. When I came out as queer, I had to die to that. I had to give that up and embrace the potential of a new way of being. There was, of course, a lot of fear. There was, of course, a lot of cost. But my experience is also that there's been great gain. As we step into authenticity, we can be tempted, as the scripture said, to remember the old ways. And as we do, we feel guilt and shame. While we pray and work for change in our lives and in our world, our primary aim must not be to wait for the old things to be reformed, but rather to begin building a new way of being in the midst of the old. In other words, while we can spend a lot of energy and time looking back to our old lives, our old family systems, our old churches, and really wanting them to be transformed, the best way, the better way, I want to suggest, is for us to begin building in the midst of the rubble of the old, and others will see our authenticity, our joy, our wholeness, and be drawn to it. The call of God, I believe, is to move forward, begin building a new life, a new church, a new world in the midst of this world. This is why Jesus prayed, may your kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven, while he was on earth. God is inviting us to embrace a new thing, to be a part of a new movement of the Spirit in our day. And so, as I said, today I want to share with you 4 areas of the coming out experience that I've had as a gay man that I believe grants me and all queer folks a unique opportunity and profound wisdom that we get to share with the world around us. Of course, the first area that I think queer people have profound knowledge that could benefit others is around the idea of identity. Understanding that our belovedness exists within our uniqueness, and having grace to fully embrace our new and ever-evolving self-understanding. This is what happens to queer people when we come out. We begin to realize that as we are in the process of coming out, there is no end. Coming out is a process of becoming. It's not something you can do overnight. We know psychologically that it takes about 25 years for human identities to solidify. Yet, so many people, so many queer folks in the coming out process think that they're going to have their new identity on lock within a couple months of officially declaring whatever their identity is. The one thing I've learned as a queer person, as a person who's continually coming out, is that I require grace with myself. Because my self-understanding over the past 8 years of being out has changed dramatically. I've identified in different ways. As I've learned more about who I am and who I want to be in the world, my whole outlook, not only on my sexuality and gender has changed, but on my faith, on what I want to do in the world. All of that is a process that unfolds when we begin to come out. As we step into our queer identities, it's also important for LGBT people to not conform to the standards of the queer community that sometimes exist. Being queer is about embracing God's of human diversity. We don't need to conform to the church's expectations of us or society's expectations of us, and we don't need to conform to our culture's understanding of what it means to be LGBT either. The spiritual gift of coming out is an invitation to not just explore our sexuality and gender identity again, but to explore all the aspects of our life and to ask, how might we live more authentically? Authenticity is how we become useful in the world. Because God flows through us most powerfully when we are conduits of authenticity, when we're showing up fully and truly as we are. My identity, as I said, has shifted and is always shifting. May we all learn the lesson that as we seek to become who we are, our identities will change and morph. Some things will solidify for sure, but you should always be growing towards a deeper and more fuller understanding of who you are. In the same way that we believe that God is infinite and eternal, we must also believe the truth that those of us made in God's image, which is all of us, have infinite and eternal complexity within ourselves. So, as some parts of your identity solidify, continue to hold your self-understanding with openness and grace. Give yourself permission to rethink who you are and what you're up to in the world. As I'm sure you've heard before, you're not a human being, but a human becoming. At the same time, it's vital in the process of becoming authentic to do the work around our shame and our trauma. We can never truly step authentically into our full selves if we continue to believe the lies that have been spoken over us by churches and cultures and family. that we're broken or flawed or less than or unworthy of love. This lack of faith in our inherent lovableness is one of the deepest wounds I've discovered within our queer community. And if we don't confront it, it will begin to hold us back from authentic living and will often manifest in really unhealthy outworkings in our lives. As the great prophet RuPaul once said, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you supposed to love anyone else? And that statement is profoundly true. Until we get serious about working on our trauma and our past, reframing our theology and beliefs, meditating on our unconditional lovableness, then we will be prevented from full healing, from becoming all that we're truly meant to be. We need to know deep in our bones that our fundamental nature is love and that we are lovable. This is what the Christian tradition describes as God, love itself. Again, I appeal to Father Richard Rohr, who says, this God, like a seductress, does not allow herself to be known apart from love. We know God by loving. Not only will psychological and therapy work be helpful on this process, but also doing work to grow in spiritual discipline, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe that's meditation, maybe that is conversation groups, maybe that is prayer, but to grow in the knowledge that there is an infinite and eternal love that exists for us, and that we are held and surrounded and infused with it. So again, the first piece of wisdom I've learned on the coming journey, and I believe that we all tap into, is this: that we need to grow in our experience of our belovedness, which will then free us up to be authentic and to not continue the addiction of conformity to others' expectations. The second thing that happens in the coming out process for so many people is that we learn what true community looks like. Understanding now, as a queer person, I look at communities I used to be a part of, and I now truly understand that God is not confined to a church or to a religious space, but that spiritually nourishing, life-giving community is most often found in unexpected places and is not confined to our religious boxes. There will likely be a mourning that takes place on any coming out process, on any deconstruction process, where we realize that we no longer are comfortable in the communities we once did. We may need to work to find a new fit in those communities, or we might need to find new communities altogether or create our own new communities. In this moment of coming out and either leaving a community or discovering a new community, it's important that we make space to mourn what was. But the invitation then is to turn and to begin to expect to experience true community, true friendship, true family in the many new spaces that can emerge as we step into our authentic selves. Within the church today, there are spaces like Sojourn Grace Collective that are popping up that value radical inclusion and openness and celebration of God's creativity. But I've also learned that God is at work within the world. We know the Gospels, Jesus spends time in all these non-holy places, like at a wedding feast or at a dinner table or at the community watering hole. And when he's there, folks encounter God and God's love in profound ways. In fact, I just read some studies about early Christianity, and what we now know is that the early Christian communities looked nothing like church as we know it today. They were literally just groups of disparate people from disparate backgrounds and identities who came together with the sole mission of supporting one another, eating and drinking with one another, and dreaming of ways that they could improve their lives and the lives of the communities that they were in. These were truly chosen families, and within them there was a wide array of different beliefs, identities, practices, and backgrounds. The thing that united them was a commitment to radical love for one another. These communities, friends, exist today, both in church spaces like this, but also outside of religious spaces. I encourage you, whoever you are, to find your community, find your people. But don't be constrained by your old ideas of what that community should look like or where that community can be found. I have found profound community within gay clubs and queer spaces. I have found profound community on my kickball league. I have found profound community in book groups and in community gathering spaces around activism. You can find deep spiritual community both within and outside of the church. But the presence of God is never constrained to any of these forms. I believe that God is present in relationship. This is one of the fundamental truths of early church as well. The idea that God is most experienced in others, and relationship was the core of what it meant to be a Christian. Being in community is one of the things that in this moment of human history, people are longing for the most. But because of a lack of authenticity, because of the isolation and loneliness of our world, so many don't tap into that community. People don't find those communities. And when you're disconnected from such communities of support, it's easy to wither and to find yourself isolated. The queer community has been such an eye-opening and healing experience for me. It's become my chosen family, and it's happened primarily outside of the church, outside of the places I expected spiritually nourishing community to emerge. So I encourage you to open your eyes, open your heart to perceive where your chosen family, where your community might be. The third area that coming out opened my eyes to as a queer person was in my understanding of the divine. You see, understanding new identities, embracing new identities, invites us to find new ways to think about and relate to the divine. Some of the old forms will stop working for you. Some of the old practices may become oppressive and harmful to you, and that's okay. The divine is not confined to a certain sect, tradition, or spiritual practices. The overarching truth is that God is infinite and eternal, and thus there are infinite and eternal ways to relate to God. So as you go on the journey towards authenticity, don't allow guilt to overwhelm you when you no longer pray the same way, or worship the same way, or think about God in the same way. As you step into your true self, I believe the divine meets you where you are, however works for you. Your spirituality might even lead you outside of Christianity or outside of the church, and that's okay. It may lead you on a journey of questioning every aspect of what you once thought was true, and that's okay. Because I believe, and I've come to know deep in my bones, that I am held by love, not by the correctness of my beliefs, not by the community I'm involved in, not by the rituals I engage in. Those things can be important and helpful, but they aren't required to experience the divine. As your identity evolves and unfolds, you'll also find God's identity evolving and unfolding in surprising ways. As I said, God meets us where we are and shows up to us in ways that match our current experience. Allow your faith to be challenged. Allow the way you view the world and meaning and purpose to be transformed as you come to a deeper understanding of who you are. As Paul says in Acts chapter 17, God does not dwell in temples made by human hands, nor does God dwell in our boxes. And as we unpack ourselves, as we set ourselves free to be who we are, you'll also find God being liberated from the shackles of our ideologies and our expectations of who God is supposed to be. The last thing I want to touch on today is that I believe queer people have something profound to offer the heterosexual cisgender community around us. The process of coming out is, in many ways, the very thing that's required for anyone to mature spiritually and in life. The process of dying to that false self and rising to the authentic self isn't a queer journey. It's a human journey. Our stories, our experiences, and the wisdom we learn along the way is key to helping others flourish. There can be a temptation, both among us LGBT folks and among straight folks, to silo these experiences as if they're somehow fundamentally different. But the truth is, they're not. When you have a chance to hear queer folk stories, or the stories of straight people struggling with their own self-understanding, listen in, because you will find so much parallel and so much wisdom as we share our stories and our own journeys of becoming who we're meant to be. Don't underestimate the wisdom that you can gain from sharing each other, sharing the lessons you're learning, sharing the areas you've struggled, sharing the places you've stumbled and fallen. Because this is what it is to be human, and I believe this is the ministry that queer folks are being called to. We have great wisdom because of the great suffering that we've gone through. That's not to say the suffering was good or justified, but it is to say, I believe, that in every circumstance of exclusion or trauma or the harm that is done, there's an opportunity for us to take whatever is learned in that moment, to take whatever's experienced in that moment, and help liberate and heal others. And I believe as we've gone through the pain of coming out, as we've gone through rejection and failure and loss for embracing who we are, that uncovers pearls of great price that we can offer to the heterosexual cisgender world, who also needs to be liberated from the patriarchal norms that our culture has thrust upon them. Everyone, straight or queer, needs to have a coming out experience in their life. We've now been given an experience as queer people that makes us apt guides to help show people how they can grow into the person that they were created to be, to step into their truest self, beyond the demands of their culture or church, to conform, repress, and hide themselves in shame. There's an old hymn that says, I've decided to follow Jesus, no turning back, no turning back. This is what God is calling us as queer followers of Christ to embrace. The idea that we're going to follow the example of Jesus into authenticity. We're going to reject conformity. We choose to be not conformed to the expectations of this world, but to be constantly transformed by the renewing of our understanding of who God is calling us to be. To embrace this new thing that God is doing in our life and in our world, to embrace the new direction that God is calling the church, we're being called not to cling to the old ways, but to remember them with gratitude and then bravely move forward towards this emerging new reality within us and through us. And you know that as you embrace authenticity, there will be resistance. There will be naysayers. There will be those who say that we're backslidden or abandoned or lost. This is what happens whenever God does something new in the world. This is what happens whenever people are liberated. Those who benefit from the oppression and the suppression get nervous. But we must keep moving forward. So whether you've just come out or you've been out for decades, whether you feel deeply committed to your faith or you're on the fence about it all, I hope you can hear and heed what I believe is the Spirit's call to you on this day. Focus your energy on living authentically. God has made a way for you out of bondage and shame and repression. God is inviting us to step forward in faith, knowing that the path ahead will not always be easy. It will not always be straightforward. It will not always make sense in the moment. But as we walk it, we will grow and mature and experience the rawness, the realness, the beauty that is authentic life. So as our scripture said this morning, do not cling to what was, but look at the new thing springing up within you and in front of you. Along the way, may you be open to this new identity, this new community, this new way of connecting to the divine and the new way of serving the world that God is opening up before you. To have come out, to be queer, has been the greatest thing in my life. And I hope all of us can experience the power of coming out and stepping into who we are. Amen.
Thank you, Brandon. It's so good to have our Pride speakers here this month, and that was beautiful. So appreciate you sharing your time with us. Time is a precious resource, and we honor you showing up today. Thank you so much, our Sojo people. Love you. Okay, it's time for communion, and at Sojo, as y'all know, we just use whatever we have as our elements. I've got Starbucks coffee this morning and a meat stick. Communion at Sojo is something we continue to do, this ancient practice, but without all the rules and the baggage, to just say, you know what, this is ours. This space is ours. And so just believe it this morning as you take. Believe that you belong and you deserve to take up space on planet Earth. With a meat stick. Yes, you do. Oh, Brandon, you're getting so much love. Everybody's just so appreciative of you and saying thank you. Thank you for being here. And as you take and drink, I love the element of the cup. Sorry, I have meat stick in my mouth. Things said at Sojo. I love the element of the cup, the blood, because to me, it's just a reminder that the gritty, earthy, more difficult, painful death, life stuff, that it belongs and that it's part of our journey and our story, and the beauty is in it, not in spite of it, but in it. And so take and drink whatever you have. Celery and kombucha. Way to be super healthy today with your communion, Shauna. Love y'all. So glad you're here. We're going to close out with one more song in our benediction. Homemade focaccia bread. Oh, I want that.
Well, I knew when you told me you don't want to go home tonight. Try to just shrug it off when I asked you why. Somebody hurt you, somebody hurt you, but you're here by my side. Yeah, I knew, 'cause I can recall when I was the one in your seat. I still got the scars and they occasionally bleed. Somebody hurt me, but I'm staying alive. And I can tell when you get nervous, you think being yourself means being unworthy. And it's hard to love with a heart that's hurting. But if you want to go out dancing, well, I know a place. I know a place we can go. Yeah. Everyone's gonna lay down their weapon, lay down their weapon. Just give me trust and watch what'll happen, 'cause I know a place we can run. You're carrying all the weight of your past. I see all your bruises, yellow, dark blue, and black. Baby, your bruises, only your body trying to keep you intact. So right now, I think we should celebrate our body's design. I think we should love our soul and mind. 'Cause maybe our purpose is to never give up when we're on the right track. And I can tell when you get nervous, you think being yourself means being unworthy. And it's hard to love with a heart that's hurting. And if you want to go out dancing, well, I know a place. I know a place we can go. Just give me trust and watch what'll happen, 'cause I know
agree, but don't listen. I know a place where we don't need protection, even if it's only my imagination. Even if our skin or our guys look different, I believe all human life is significant. I throw my arms open wide in resistance. With every beat I dance my insistence that we will build a place we can go. Everyone's gonna lay down their weapon, lay down their weapon. Just give me trust, just watch what'll happen. I know a place we can ride. Everyone's gonna lay down their weapon, lay down their weapon. Don't you be afraid of love and affection, just lay down your weapon. That was very fun.
That was very fun.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, should we close this out with just a couple house notes?
Oh, we have house notes?
We've got a very big house note that we've been noting all month.
Yes.
Oh.
Like, don't forget is all we're trying to say is that we're going back to meeting in person come July, but we're not leaving the virtual world. It's both and. We're third weighing this, so we're going to continue our virtual live stream 10 a.m. Pacific, and then we are going to begin an evening service at 5 post-morning Pacific at the North Park location known as St. Luke's Episcopal. So that starts 2 Sundays from now. Come join, come be with us.
Love this, Haley. She said, very nice message today. I'm rededicating to commuting my energy to living authentically today and going to stop trying to be something I'm not and do what makes my heart come alive. Thanks, Brandon.
Hearts, love that. And the other note of the house is our Joy Box. Woo! Thanks, Matthew. If you are in a position where you are able to and would
It's kind of ambulance-y.
and receive joy from supporting our church, for supporting our mission to create spaces where people can find healing and belonging and transformation and to foster spiritual, social, and emotional wholeness, then please, we invite you to do that at sojourngrace.com/donate, where you can do one-time gifts or recurring donations, or you can Venmo at Sojourn Grace.
Awesome.
Awesome opossum. This is our benediction. This is how we close every gathering here at Sojourn Grace. It is a call to bravery in your heart and your life this week, because you are a loved child of God and nothing can take that away from you. And it's also an invitation to kindness, because as it turns out, everybody gets to be and is a child of God. So be kind as best as you can.
Is it Pauline's birthday weekend?
On my birthday weekend.
Oh,
Happy birthday, Polly.
the return to in person? Is that maybe?
Okay.
Maybe it's happening.
We won't
All
say
right.
happy birthday.
All right, Alexa.
Okay.
Because you're a child of God. I like that.
We'll wait.
Some of us went up on God and some went down on God, like the phrasing. This is the call and response, by the way, for people who are like, what's happening?
We're waiting.
We're waiting for the call.
leader. Lead us.
Be kind.
Because so is everyone else. Love y'all. Have good weeks.
Bye.
Or as best as weeks as you can. No pressure if it's not good. Okay, bye.